Alright, sorry about that. My battery died, but maybe it's better that I put this in 2 segments anyway. So the first segment was about the principle of inclusion and how important is it to include everybody. And before I leave that topic completely, move on to the next one, which again they're intertwined, so I'm not really leaving it. But before I go into the next one, just another thing behind that makes the principle of inclusion a good one, that you include people, is we all feel like we're at different levels. And the degree that we include other people who we feel like are maybe less inferior or less experienced or less knowledgeable in a subject, the more we will feel comfortable participating in a discussion where we are the one who's perceived as less knowledgeable or less experienced or less able or capable. We tend to extend the same freedom to ourselves that we do to other people. And if we are limiting other people constantly on the grounds of your own superiority, then you also tend to limit yourself in other situations where you perceive other people's superiority. So it's just one of those catch-22 phrases. It's the really judge not that you be not judged concept as applied to learning, and it's an important one. And so again, hand in hand, as I was starting to cover in the last video, the come prepared to teach idea is a powerful one. And underlying it all is the principle that everyone is of value. And also the principle that if you teach, then you are a better learner. You've heard this time and again, I'm sure, as you've listened to talks or presentations, as people have said, oh, I've come to talk to you about this, but I really learned more on the subject than I could ever teach you as I prepared to teach you. And I found that it's true over the years, that when I come prepared to teach someone, I've inevitably done more research than what I actually present in class. And it's a powerful concept. So going back to the reasoning why I did it, as I explained in the previous video, the principle of inclusion, if you're looking for that one. In the previous video, I just briefly covered how when I was approaching this youth class, I didn't want to spend weeks teaching, then have them go home and learn it, then come back and share with me what they had found that week. Because I felt like then I was using up 2 weeks for those concepts. And I thought, that's a waste. It's not a waste of time, I guess, but they're for as much as I wanted to, the scope of what I wanted to create and the learning environment for them, it wasn't going to work. Because I wanted to have 1 week dedicated to leadership, 1 week dedicated to geogeniuses, and 1 week dedicated to Eureka. Or anyway, I wanted to be able to just cover those things and then move on and apply them and integrate them. I didn't want to spend time introducing the concept to them, having them go home and research it, and then come back. So it just felt like the right thing to do, and it was really interesting because a couple years after I started doing this, we found out that a university, or a college at that time, I'm not sure if it was which it was at that time, but BYU Idaho, Brigham Young University in Idaho, they approach their classes with a similar concept. They expect the students to go and do some research beforehand, and then they come to class prepared to teach it. So it's really it's a really amazing process as they do this. So one thing I'd like to do in order to help them to do this is I do like to give them a common foundation. Like I'll do some kind of introductory paragraph or chapter they need to read, or small book they need to read, or some kind of quote, or they will watch a video as like a springboard for the idea that we're studying, and then we call that the starting point. That's the way I found it was the simplest way to explain it to my class. And then from there, they go on bunny trails. And this is the fun part. So after you've introduced the concept, let's say you've introduced the concept of geology, or you've done a short introductory video on geology, and maybe do a scripture or a quote that goes with it to talk about how geology is relevant, in the world, why study it. And so you start from there, and then you say, okay, now take some idea in there and apply your own genius or path or mission to that. And so you might have an herbologist, might study the composition of soil that best helps things to grow. You might have someone who is interested in making movies, and they might make some kind of cool video on rocks. So it's just, I call them bunny trails, because they just kind of go, wherever from there. You take bunny trails from it. And it's interesting, I ran across that in the TG Ed community the other day, as I was on their Facebook page, and they talked about these bunny trails. And I thought, where did you get that, idea? Because that's what we use in our classes. This idea where you have a starting point. So it really helps as a class to have a starting point, and then, a starting concept you're studying. And then you do bunny trails. You don't want the starting material, at least at the apprentice level. Not right now, sweetie. The starting apprentice level one, to have a lot of research beforehand, because you want them to have a lot of creativity, don't they, with their learning styles and that, to act on that. And then they come, so they do bunny trails, and then they do some kind of project, So the bunny trails might be, putting together the play, and then the project will be the play. You want them to somehow apply it or make it relevant to themselves and other people. So anyway, so that's the power of coming prepared to teach. If you have any ideas or suggestions or experiences that you've had and successful incorporations of this idea, this principle of how coming prepared to teach has created a better learning environment for you, that would be awesome. Just share it in the comments below or make your own video and I'll watch it. It'd be great. But I know that it's true. I've seen my kids come with fun ideas. And as they come with ideas and other people come with ideas, not only do they learn from each other, but they also see how one subject can be applied in a myriad of different fashions and make it relevant to a person's interest. They can see how geology can apply to a person who wants to give speeches. So make a speech about the importance of rocks. I don't know. But it's been interesting as they've done that. They've tried to find significance in their learning that they have been able to, don't Maya, that they've been able to, don't, you need to stop, to better teach each other. So have fun with this. Try to do classes where they come prepared to teach. You can do it on a small scale and just say, hey, come with a video to share or something, or some kind of quote. Or you can do it on a larger scale, like come with an actual project. However you want to incorporate it. But it's a beautiful concept, and I challenge you to apply it. So thanks, and I'll see you next time.